الرحمن الرحيم نحمد ونصلي على رسول الكريم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Alhamdulillah, we praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ask him send peace and blessing his beloved and our beloved Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. We're finishing off the chapter on Salat, and after that will be the chapter of Ghusl Mayyit, washing dead body, and Salatul Janazah and so forth. So the first chapter, that one should not raise their voice in Salat while other people are reading this also. People should not be competing in raising their voices in Salat. Imam Malik narrated from Yahya bin Sa'id, narrated from Muhammad Ibrahim bin Haris al-Taymi, who narrated from Abu Hazim al-Tammar, from al-Bayadi, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam one day went out and people were praying, and their voices, all of them, their voices were raised. Meaning people, different groups of people were praying, and everyone was reading loudly. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that a musalli, a worshipper, prayer, is having an intimate, is doing munajat, like is having intimate conversation with his Lord. Then, like he should look at that, who he's speaking to and how he's speaking, and should not elevate. Like you don't need to shout. Everyone is raising their voice, shouting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The point of you being in the salat is that you're in an intimate conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then when you're all raising your voice, then you are competing with each other for raising the voice and trying to make sense. So he disallowed that such a type of obviously when the Imam leading Salat or Tarawih or any other Salat where the Imam is reading, he has to read in a loud voice, but not, this is about people praying their nafil prayers. Let's say multiple people are praying nafil prayers and all reading loudly, then of course it becomes chaotic, and so Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam prohibited people from behaving in such a way. The next section is reading the Quran calmly and with understanding, and not haste quickly. Imam Malik narrated from Yahya bin Sa'id that he said, me and Muhammad ibn Yahya bin Hibban were sitting, both of us were sitting, and Muhammad called a man, and he called the man. He goes, inform me with that which you have heard from your father. So the man said, the man said, my father informed me that he came to Zayd bin Thabit radiallahu anhu, and he said to him, how do you read, what do you think, like what's your view regarding reading the Quran in seven days, like doing khatma, a complete reading Quran in 7. And Zayd bin Thabit radiallahu anhu said, it's good, but I read it in a half a month, or 20 days, in 15 days, or 14, 15 days, or 20 days. This is more beloved to me. And asked me, then Zayd bin Thabit asked me, why is that? Like why do I prefer that? And so then he goes, indeed, I asked you, and he said, so that I may contemplate and may pause in the Quran. Because by reading quickly, a lot quickly, then you don't have time to pause, because you have to finish the amount you're reading more. But in a short amount of time, then you're rushing. While this allows me to contemplate, reflect on the meanings of the Quran, and to pause at points and places in the Quran, and so that to reflect better. The next section Imam Malik has put, Shah Waliullah has put in his commentary, that the sujood of Quran is sunnah and not wajib. Imam Malik narrated from Hisham bin Urwa, he narrated from his father that Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu recited Surah Sajda, and he was on the minbar, and he got down on the day of Jum'ah, and he got down and made a sajda, and everybody did a sajda. And then he read Surah Jum'ah in the next Jum'ah, and the people got ready to do a sajda, and Umar radiallahu anhu said, no, like ala rislikum, like basically like where you are, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not prescribed this, meaning Allah has not made this compulsory upon us, except for when we want, and he didn't make a sajda, and he also stopped them from doing it. Like it's not required, because they're in Jummah. So he said that you're not required to do this. Shah Waliullah says that the school of Imam Shafi'i is that sujood al-Quran, sajda tilawat, certain place in the Quran, is sunnah. Imam Hanifa Rahimahullah said is wajib. The section on that you cannot do the sajda, these sajdas, except that you're in a state of purity and tahara, except that you're tahir. Imam Malik was asked about someone who reads sajda, such as a woman in her menses period, she hears the ayat of sajda. Is there sajda upon her, Imam Malik Rahimahullah said there is no sajda for a man or a woman except they're in both of them in a state of purity, meaning they're in wudu. They're in a state of wudu. Shah Waliullah says the madhab of the school Imam Shafi and Imam Hanifa is that it's a condition for the sajda of tilawa to face the qibla and to be in a state of tahara and to have the awrah should be covered like in salat. The ayat which sujood sajda is done in, Imam Malik has narrated that Abdullah bin Yazid, the freed slave of Aswad bin Sufyan, who narrated from Abu Salama bin Abdurrahman, who narrated from Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, that he recited إِذَا السَّمَاءُ انشَقَّتْ, and he made sajda, and when he turned around he informed them that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did a sajda in this surah. Imam Malik narrated from Nafi, the free slave Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu anhu, that a man informed him that Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anhu used to read in Surah Al-Hajj, and he made a sajda, 2 sajdas in it, and said this is a surah that has been preferred over other surahs because of the 2 sajdas in it. Imam Malik narrated from Abdullah bin Dinar that he said, I saw Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu anhuma make a sajda in Surah Al-Hajj. He made 2 sajdas in Surah Al-Hajj. Imam Malik narrated from Ibn Shihab, who narrated from A'raj, who narrated from Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, that he read وَالنَّجْمِ إِذَا هَوَى, and he made a sajda, and then he stood up and he read another surah in Salat. Obviously in the first surah, Rakat, he read one surah, then another one he read the next surah. Shah Waliullah Rahimahullah says that I say that the sujood al-Quran are 14 according to the majority of the ulama. One of them is in sajda sad according to the Hanafis, and was sajda, second sajda in Surah Al-Hajj according to Imam the Shafi'is, and Imam Shafi'i says the sajda of sad is a sujood of shukr, and it's not like a requirement that you have to do it sujood there, and there's no requirement to do it in salat. Imam Ahmad rahimahullah said he put them all together and said there's 15 places in the Quran that we make a sajda. So he said there's 15 places in total. One says 14, these 14, and the other one said these, basically same, but there's a difference of 1. So Surah Hajj and Surah Sad, that's where the difference is. Imam Ahmad said 15 sajdas in total are there in the Quran. The timing, and this is the last chapter for today, the timings where it is makruh, disliked to pray salat in. Imam Malik narrated from Zayd bin Aslam, narrated from Ata bin Yasar, narrated from Abdullah Sanabihi, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that indeed the sun rises, and with it are the horn of shaitan, and when it goes up it separates. Like when it rises, the sun rises, it separates. When it becomes right in the middle of the day, then it joins it again. When it declines towards the west, that means when Zuhr time, then it separates. When it comes close, comes close again at Maghrib. When it sets, it separates. And the Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam forbid in these times salat. Imam Malik narrated from Hisham bin Urwa, he narrated from his father, that he said that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that if when one of you, when the sun is like at its edge, like on the horizon, then delay your salat until it's fully risen. When it's about to disappear on the horizon, like the sun starts setting, then delay your salat until it fully disappears. I think generally the definition of sunrise and sunset according to I think the weather section is like half the disk is disappeared. So like in the newspapers they have the weather section. I'm not sure if I haven't seen newspapers so long, but they used to have the sunset sunrise times. That is not the Islamic definition. That is a like astronomical definition, which is that half the disk is set or risen. The Islamic definition, as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam clarified, that the setting of the sun is that the whole disk is below the sun is below is above the horizon. The sun has risen fully, and that the whole sun has set. Imam Malik narrated from Abdullah bin Umar that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, none of you should be considering or doing salat, search for salat, or do the salat until the sun has risen. Like you should not be praying at the time when the sun is still rising until you're certain the sun has risen. Obviously for nafil prayers, sunrise for shuruq.
Fard you can pray.
Yeah, and then for the Maghrib Salat, that make sure for Maghrib Salat that the sun has set. And Malik narrated from Abdullah bin Dinar, then narrated from Abdullah bin Umar, that Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu used to say that you should not be praying Salat at the time of the setting of the rising of the sun and at its setting. Meaning that as the disk is actually setting or rising at that point, that is not Maghrib time, that is not sunrise. That's the sun is still rising. You shouldn't be. That's specifically a time you should not be praying. And while the disk is still setting, that's not Maghrib time. Until it's gone below the horizon fully, then that is the Maghrib time. And why? فَإِنَّ الشَّيْطَانِ يَطْلُ قَرْنَاهُ, that the horns of shaitan rise up with the rising of the sun and sets with the setting of the sun. And Umar radiallahu anhu used to hit the people if they prayed Salat in these times. So Umar radiallahu anhu, right? So he used to, he says, يَضْرِبُ النَّاسِ عَلَى تِلْكِ الصَّلَاةِ, on these people that got up to pray Salat at the wrong time. Imam Malik narrated from Ibn Shihab, who narrated from Sa'ib ibn Yazid, that he saw Umar bin Khattab hit munkadir fi Salat ba'ad al-Asr, after praying Salat after Asr time. After the Fard, he prayed Fard of Asr, then he was praying Salat. Let's say like in Jamaat was in the Masjid Nabawi, we assume, and Jamaat is done, he just prayed Fard, and now he's getting up to pray a Salat, another Nafil prayer. So yeah, he struck him for doing something. Imam Malik doing something that he shouldn't be doing. Imam Malik narrated from Muhammad ibn Yahya ibn Hibban, narrated from A'raj, who narrated from Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam prevented from Salat, he forbade Salat after Asr until the sun had set, and until and Salat after the Fajr until the sun had risen. And Shah Waliullah Rahimahullah says, the Shafi'i, Imam Shafi'i Rahimahullah, he made exemption for Salat that have a cause. So for example, if after Asr, after Fajr, you enter into the mosque, Tahiyatul Masjid, then you're allowed to pray 2 rakat according to Imam Shafi'i Rahimahullah, or in Haram Makkah, the 2 rakats of Tawaf. So Tawaf is finished, it's after Asr. And or Salat at the midday for Jum'ah. In Fatawa al-Amgiriya, Fatawa Hindiya, it says that if is wajib, if Salat Janazah became wajib and Sajda Tilawat became wajib, because according to Hanafi, Sajda Tilawat is wajib. So it became wajib in a permissible time, let's say before Asr, and he delays it to at the later time, then it's not permissible, because he had the time to do it in the proper time, but he delayed it after Asr. But if it became wajib, meaning that the Sajda Tilawat and Salat Janazah was prayed at Asr time, like it wasn't delayed, he could have prayed it before. And the first one is where he could have prayed it before but delayed it till after Asr. Well, the second one is that it came wajib. Let's say Janazah was ready after Asr, or he read the ayat of Sajda, then he said it's permissible to do these after Asr. Because why? You have to apply this hadith, and also because if they're saying it's wajib to do Sajda Tilawat, then the better to do it at that time when you read the Quran, right? And also the other one forbids from praying Salat. So this is to combine both, to apply both. That's the way the Fuqaha applied it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding and tawfiq to practice what we're saying here. Inshallah, next week we'll start the section on ghusl